Good afternoon. I appreciate everyone coming here on such short notice. We're here today to discuss very briefly incident that happened in Newburgh, City of Newburgh yesterday. We're going to talk some brief facts about that. I am District Attorney David Hoovler, and the reason we are having this press conference this afternoon is to basically clear up some misconceptions, some things that have been put out in the community, some things that have hit social media that clearly are not the case in this particular incident. And we're doing that with the purpose of, number one, providing transparency. Normally in a situation where we wouldn't have transparency so quick, we're doing that because, number one, we don't want any more loss of life and we don't want any more property damage, and we believe that in doing this, this will promote public safety, particularly in Orange County and the City of Newburgh. So I am going to speak first. After I speak for a few minutes and show some video, I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Torrance Harvey here of the City of Newburgh. After that, we're going to have a few words from the Chief of Police, Doug Solomon, right here to my immediate left. After that, we're going to have the County Executive of Orange County speak for a few minutes. Or excuse me, after that, the Sheriff will speak of Orange County, and then finally the County Executive will speak. We are not going to take questions at the end of this. So, what is said will be said. There will be some video played of relevant portions of this incident. So if you need a replay of that, you can see the technician after the press conference. So to start, yesterday at approximately 5:01 p.m. in the City of Newburgh, near the area of 40 William Street, City of Newburgh police officers encountered an individual who was wanted for questioning in a shooting from the previous night. While approaching that individual produced a handgun and got into an altercation with an officer, a City of Newburgh officer. The City of Newburgh officer was struck on the head with the firearm, and when other officers came to assist him, shots were exchanged between the individual that was being sought for questioning and the police. Tragically, the individual that they were trying to question passed as a result of gunshot wounds. An officer was struck in the shoulder. The officer is recovering in stable condition, expected to make a recovery. After this incident occurred, within hours, certain individuals in the City of Newburgh took to social media to portray a narrative. In the narrative, they indicated that the individual that was shot was unarmed. They indicated facts that simply were not true. In doing so, they basically enticed and tried to change the narrative of what happened in this incident to drive public opinion in the City of Newburgh. Throughout the night, members of the District Attorney's Office, the State Police, and the City of Newburgh investigated this case. In the course of the investigation, we uncovered some body cam video and some other video that normally we would keep and we would basically release at the end of an investigation. But because of the misinformation, because of the civil unrest that was occurring in the City of Newburgh last night, the mayor called me shortly after 1:30 p.m. I had a conversation with him, and he indicated to me he was very concerned about the city, about the potential for property loss and even the potential property loss or the loss of life if facts and circumstances were not put out to the public of what actually happened in this case. After consulting with the mayor, around that time at 1:30, my office and my staff, in conjunction with the City of Newburgh Police Department, released a series of still photographs from the incident that were put on social media on my District Attorney Facebook page, because that was the media that the other individual, a councilman from the City of Newburgh, was using to basically drive a narrative that simply was not true, one that would lead to danger in the city. In deciding to release these still photos and deciding what we're doing today, again, transparency, number one, is key. Building trust with the community is number two. And most importantly, public safety. The safety of the people that live in the City of Newburgh, the safety of the police officers that serve there, the fire and EMS that serve there, as well as the property, the things that people own there. Most importantly, we have a major hospital in the City of Newburgh that we must keep open. We must keep the City of Newburgh open. So we believe, my staff, releasing some of this footage in the interest of transparency, would be a good thing. So, on that note, what I am going to show you now, up on our screen, is I'm going to show you some body cam footage that, from this incident that we are releasing at this point, that shows what happened. And first we are going to show, Brett, we're going to show this at full speed.
We're going to go through the still frames first.
First we're going to go through some still photograph, or some still screenshots of the actual body cam video. So the first screenshot you're looking at here, you will see one officer right here struggling with an individual against here, and you will see another officer approaching here, and this right here, this handgun here, is a third officer. You are seeing the body cam video from the perspective of the third officer approaching the scene. Next still, please. As you see here, this is another still that's a few moments down. As you see here, there's still a confrontation occurring between the individual and a police officer, another police officer standing here, and you see this officer here with his gun out approaching. If you notice the individual in the beige with the tan boots, that is the suspect or the deceased. If you look in his right hand, what you see here is you see a handgun with a silver slide. Next slide, please. This is a little closer. You see the officer struggling, again with this individual. If you look down, you see the gun in the individual's right hand. You see another officer approaching here. And again, you see the perspective from the officer we have with the body cam. And again, these are all stills that were taken from the incident. These are not photoshopped. These are not altered. These are not changed. These are the actual screenshots that you will eventually see. Next, please. This is just a little further in time. Again, you can see the silver slide of the handgun that the individual has. Of interest here, this individual, part of something that came, the description, they were looking for a black fanny pack. You see a black fanny pack here. This individual had that. It was part of the description from earlier, from Thursday, involving a shooting that they were investigating where this individual was wanted for question. Next slide. Again, you see this is just another slide. It's a little further in time. You see the gun. Again, it's prominently displayed here. It's out. One officer is engaged. The second officer is within 2 feet of him, and the third officer is continuing to approach with his gun out. Next slide. Now you see another slide a little closer in time. You see the gun is directly pointed at the torso of this individual officer here. You can see the gun very clearly. This officer is still approaching from this side, and you still have the original officer engaged with the individual. Next slide. Now, at this point in time, you see the gun now is raised, the slide is back. On a semi-automatic weapon, that means that the gun is fired. It is pointed directly at the officer's head. You still have your perspective here from the body cam of the officer coming in, and you still have the officer engaged. But right here is what we're looking at. You see that this slide is back on a semi-automatic weapon that fires from gas recoil. Anytime the gun cycles or a bullet is fired, the slide pops back. A bullet had been shot or the gun had been discharged at that time by this individual. Next. Again, this is just another slide taken from the original video that shows the continuing of what is happening. Again, the slide is still back. You can clearly see the gun in the right hand. Okay, now, to show you how fast this actually occurs, so that the public understands what the officers had to see at this particular point in time, we're going to run this through at full speed. I'm going to tell you right now, keep your eyes on it very quick. Brett, full speed, please. That's how fast it happened. Can we play that one more time, Brett? Or again, full speed. Okay. Now, next. In order to enhance, we're going to reduce it to 25%. So we're slowing it down. Can you show us at 25%? Again, you can see the gun. Okay, one more time at 25%. I'm asking you to keep focus on the right hand of the suspect. You can see the gun. Okay? And now, let's go to 10% of the actual speed. Lights, please. Now that I've showed you the video, what does all this mean? We are showing this video again to allay the community fears, to promote transparency, to promote public safety, and to promote trust, so that the public actually knows what happened in this incident. The case is still under investigation by the District Attorney's Office, the New York State Police, and the City of Newburgh. What we're going to do, all the evidence will be gathered. This case will be presented to a grand jury, 23 citizens of Orange County, who will determine whether or not the actions taken by the police in this particular case were within their right to be justified in firing their weapons, or whether they were not within their right to do that. That is consistent with our policy and procedure in Orange County. In addition to that, we have a policy that we've had since 2015 that anytime there's a police shooting, we have a protocol that we follow. That protocol indicates, in addition to the grand jury, the District Attorney's Office will conduct a parallel investigation where we will release, at the end of our investigation, all of the body cam video, all of the evidence in the particular case, so that the public has complete transparency and the public sees everything that they need to see regarding this case, and they can make their own judgments in what they believe. But the only judgment, again, that the District Attorney's Office will make in this case in the end is whether or not this case was justified under the penal law of the state of New York, whether the officers acted reasonable under the circumstances. And again, we have taken the extraordinary step of releasing this at this point, calling this press conference, because again, the City of Newburgh Police asked that we do this, and the mayor asked that we do this in order to protect the people of the City of Newburgh, the police officers that work there, and the property of those individuals. At this time, I'm going to ask the mayor, Torrance Harvey, to say a few words regarding this matter.
Thank you. So I want to say good evening. Thank you, District Attorney David Hoovler. I want to say that as Mayor Torrance Harvey, City of Newburgh, we have a very, very difficult situation that is or has presented itself before us. Now, again, there is a limited amount of information that I have been told or received. I have seen some of the video footage. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the additional footage that has been stored with our law enforcement. And once again, it's a very, very disturbing video. But the main thing is, one, while this was taking place, we, the City of Newburgh, had established a state of emergency because of our healthcare crisis, which is ongoing with COVID-19. In addition to this particular ongoing healthcare crisis, now we have an ongoing investigation with at least 2, if not 3, outside agencies. Once again, the Orange County District Attorney's Office, New York State Police Department, and now the New York State Attorney General's Office is doing her independent investigation as well. We need peace in our streets. We need calm in our community at this very time. We want all the facts to come out with full transparency. As District Attorney David Hoover just mentioned, we know that there is a lot of grief and anger within our city. There will be grief counseling available to our city residents and community members. I have and will continue to reach out to the faith-based community and the ministers to help and assist in that. I've also reached out to several community leaders and our city council members and our executive staff to assist once again in public safety. Public safety in the city of Newburgh is our #1 priority. My prayers go out to every single individual involved in this very, very difficult situation. I know once again, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of grief with this circumstance, and we once again are asking people for peace in the streets and calm in our community so that this ongoing investigation, which is very fluid, can proceed in the most transparent way, in the most way that we can find these facts and conclusion to this particular incident. We're asking the people of the city of Newburgh to please be patient. Please be patient with an ongoing investigation. And to my surprise, some of the video footage was presented before this particular press conference. And I, as District Attorney Hoover just mentioned, I've been on the phone with him all night and even into the early parts of the morning to please release some of this video footage for complete transparency. And his office and all the law enforcement agencies involved have broken protocol at my request to release some of this footage so that the public could see and learn some of the facts of the case. Once again, we are looking forward to hearing and seeing and learning of all the facts to the case. We're again asking the public to be patient, asking for peace in our streets, and we're asking for calm in our community, because violence only begets more violence. And the super objective here is to get all the facts of the investigation, trust the process without any more bloodshed. Again, we are in a state of emergency with the healthcare crisis known as COVID-19, otherwise known as the coronavirus, and now we have this ongoing investigation. It's a very difficult time for me. It's a very difficult time for the city government, the city of Newburgh, and for the entire community. And it's very important that we maintain peace in our streets and once again, calm in our community. Thank you.
Chief, brief word.
It's a tight squeeze.
Definitely for me. I appreciate the district attorney being very proactive on this and releasing some of this information to in order to dispel some of the misinformation that's going around the city. That's greatly appreciated. I certainly appreciate the mayor's comments. We are cooperating fully in this ongoing investigation and will continue to do so. And would reiterate the mayor's comments that it's essential that we keep peace in the streets while this investigation is going on. The men and women of the City of Newburgh Police Department do an extraordinary job under very difficult circumstances, and certainly this is one of those difficult circumstances. And I also want to emphasize the importance of the body cameras. Without this body camera footage, this investigation would be a lot more difficult, and there certainly would be a lot more questions that would be difficult to answer. So having these body cameras is incredibly important.
County Executive Newhouse?
Like cutting off the sheriff?
No.
Okay. In the morning, seeing their streets on fire, bottles and all sorts of commotion going underneath. It's really not something that we need now. We are in the middle of a major crisis. Since the governor gave his report about an hour and a half ago, my numbers are continuing to climb. We're at 1,142 positive cases in Orange County. We have major concerns. Our law enforcement and emergency management are stretched as it is, and we had to bring in dozens and dozens of officers from around the Tri-County area to help suppress this problem. So we're asking for everybody to come together, help each other, few blocks away from where this incident was, we have over a dozen people that are in serious condition with this virus. That's not what we need right now. The great thing about this country is that we're open for dialogue. If you have a problem with the government, if you have a problem with police, or if you have a problem with an individual, there's ways of doing that. And it's not setting fires in the street, it's not throwing bottles at the police or shooting, it's about having a dialogue. So that's what we encourage everybody, just put it all down, let's get back together, let's help our fellow neighbors, and let's address this in the proper location. Thank you.
And finally, the sheriff, the county executive has to go, he's got a call to make.
Steve, somebody from my office should be on that call, if not.
Yeah, and if the press needs me, I'll be back out in 15 minutes.
Okay. Good afternoon. What I'd like to do is I want to speak directly to the people of the City of Newburgh. Instead of disrupting the City of Newburgh police and their communities with social media posts, why aren't you asking the question, why did this individual have a gun? Why isn't that question being asked out there? Because I haven't seen it. Our social media experts are doing more damage than they can imagine. As the county executive said, and as the mayor said, we are in the middle of being declared a disaster area and a state of emergency on the county and the state level. Misinformation. That's what's going out there. We can't have it. I got a long history with Newburgh. Longer than some, not as long as others. Let me give you a couple names. Reverend Nelson McAllister, Bishop Jeff Woody, Pastor Dolly Briggs, Pastor Robert McLemore, my good friend, Bishop Coleman Briggs. Here's two more for you. Judy Kennedy and Mary Crabb. Would they condone this, City of Newburgh? No, they wouldn't. What would they say? They would say, relax, calm down, control your emotions. Let's have some constructive dialogue. I know all those people personally. Judy Kennedy, Mary Crabb, tragically passed away years ago, but I knew them, and I knew that their hearts were in Newburgh. They would not tolerate this. Nonviolence, constructive dialogue. I can hear them all saying it. You know what my visions of Newburgh are? Along with the DA and the county executive and the county clerk, Newburgh Illuminated. Think about all the people that come together with Newburgh Illuminated. National Night Out on Crime. The way that Broadway is always bustling with people, with youth groups, with businesses, to keep that community the way it is, to keep it good. It was an all-American city at one time, and that was in my lifetime. We need constructive dialogue. Don't complicate things. Again, I am speaking directly to the people of the City of Newburgh. If you can't, then there's going to be the last resort, and that's police action. That's not what we want, but it's there. I've already been in touch with the state police, the surrounding sheriff's offices, the local police agencies that surround Newburgh. I work hand in hand with Chief Doug Solomon and with Mayor Harvey. We are there for them. We were there last night. We will be there again. We are the last resort. Don't let it come to that. Thank you.
Again, just to reiterate, the investigation is still ongoing. It is far from being over. This matter eventually will wind up before a grand jury to judge the officers' actions, whether they acted properly within the law. And additionally, we will have a second parallel investigation that will release all the facts and circumstances publicly. When will that be? At least 4 to 6 months. What we have done here is we have had people in the DA's office, in the state police, in the City of Newburgh, in the sheriff's office. They have worked constantly for almost 16 hours straight in order to put this together so that we can make a We can have a call for calmness, we can have a call for unity, we can have a call for transparency. So, on that note, we are not going to have any questions. If any of the media would like to have any of the video replayed, you are free to stay and work with Investigator Wheaton. He will help you with that. We'll not be releasing the video in any form other than what it was here. And again, what you have seen here is the actual video from one officer's body cam. Thank you for your time. Everyone be safe and good evening.